Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Joel here with as many reviews as possible, and today we're doing the review of the Nike Romaleo 3s. Alright guys, so a little bit earlier in the week I did a first impressions video and I did a training vlog with the Nike Romaleo 3s to answer some of the initial questions that you guys had about these shoes. So please make sure you check those out before you start this video. The Nike Romaleo 3s are my favorite weightlifting shoes at the moment because they are the most well-rounded weightlifting shoe that I have used in the past 5 years that I've been even weightlifting. Personally, I do CrossFit, and that's the perspective that I'm mainly going to take while I do this review. I know there's going to be people from various disciplines that are going to be watching this review, and there's going to be something for you guys too. I'm going to speak objectively and subjectively about the Nike Romaleos and see if I can answer everybody's questions about these shoes. The changes that Nike's made to the Romaleo 3s really affect what I want to do with this shoe, making it one of the best picks for somebody that is doing functional fitness, CrossFit, weightlifting, not so much powerlifting, and I'll get back to that, and not so much just your average global gymmer. The major change to the Romaleo 3s is that they are just a lot more lightweight compared to the Nike Romaleo 2s. With the soft insert, the Nike Romaleos 3s weigh 13.3 ounces, and with the hard insert, they weigh 15.4. So either way you go, you're saving a pretty good amount of weight compared to the Nike Romaleo 2s and a lot of the other weightlifting shoes out there. Another thing that's been greatly improved with the Nike Romaleo 3s is the amount of forefoot flexibility, which makes things like jumping and moving around a whole lot more easy to do in the Nike Romaleo 3s. Like the Nike Romaleos 2s, you get two sets of inserts. You get a softer one, which would better suit CrossFit, and you get a harder one, which would better suit weightlifting and powerlifting. Now, even the softer one is not that soft. It's about the same density as the hard one, but the harder one is just thicker, and it doesn't flex as well. I had a little bit of trouble with the fit of the Nike Romaleos 2s. No matter what I did, I always got some kind of heel slip. With the Nike Romaleos 3s, with the soft insole, these shoes fit amazing. With the hard insole, you might get a little bit of heel slip still, but if you just use the lace lock, you won't experience any kind of heel slip with the Nike Romaleos 3s. Another thing that's much better with the Nike Romaleos 3s is the seatbelt looking medial strap. This actually does a much better job in tightening the middle area of your shoe and really securing that down. Now, it is much shorter than it was before, but if you do pull it on over all the way, you can get pretty close to the ground. The outsole pattern of the Nike Romaleos 3s is a little weird, and if you're tryptophobic, you might not like it, but it does a really good job of holding any surface that you throw at it. Rubber flooring, platforms. The Nike Romaleos 3s have never really failed me. I've never noticed my feet slipping around at all. Like I mentioned in the first impressions video, the heel is hollow, but there are pylons in there that give it some kind of structural rigidity. Now, the forefoot is actually depressible. If you see there, I can depress the forefoot by just pressing it down. But if I were to go inside the shoe and I were to press from inside the shoe, it would also flex the other way as well. Now, you're not going to have to worry about any kind of loss of power because the forefoot flexes that way. If you think about it, all you're going to be doing is pushing straight into the ground. So you're going to get direct contact no matter what. The drop of the Nike Romaleos 3s is 20 millimeters compared to the 19 millimeters of the Nike Romaleos 2s. It is still a 3/4 inch heel. You're not going to notice any kind of difference in heel height as far as going between those two shoes. When it comes down to sizing your Nike Romaleos 3s, I'm going to recommend that you go with your normal Olympic weightlifting shoe size if you are a weightlifter or a powerlifter. if you are a CrossFitter, you might want to think about sizing the Nike Romaleo 3s the same as your training shoes to account for being able to do metcons in these shoes. The Nike Romaleo 3s versus the Legacy Lifters. Which one is the better shoe? Now that is subjective. In my opinion, for me, the Nike Romaleo 3s are going to be the better option because they're more flexible, they're lighter weight. I can take these from a metcon to the platform just by changing the insoles. The Legacy Lifters are the more stable shoe because they weigh 20 ounces. They are a heavy shoe, and this is not something that I'm going to recommend anyone to wad in. But when it comes to power delivery and stability, the Legacy Lifters are probably still the best shoe at the moment. So I would still recommend proficient weightlifters that can move their feet really well, the Legacy Lifters. Also power lifters that don't really need to move their feet at all and just want to stay in one spot, the Legacy Lifters are still going to be the better option. The Nike Romaleo 3s versus the Adidas Leistung 2. When it comes to these, I would still choose the Nike Romaleo 3s just because personally I like the lighter weight, and I do like the 3/4 inch heel versus the 1 inch heel and the 17.7 ounces of the Adidas Leistung. Now if you needed the increased heel height of the Adidas Leistung, this is still a very good option, but I don't like the 1 inch heel personally for functional fitness, though some weightlifters and powerlifters might get better usage out of that 1 inch heel. So should you upgrade if you had something like the Adidas Adi Powers or the Nike Romaleo 2s, which I don't have, but throughout the last 4 or 5 years I've owned 3 pairs of them, to the Nike Romaleo 3s? It depends on what you're doing. If you are a CrossFitter, the Nike Romaleo 3s are definitely the best way to go for an Olympic weightlifting shoe because you're going to be able to do wads in them. You're going to be able to do Olympic lifting in them. If you are a power lifter or even just a weightlifter, then you might not need to upgrade to the Nike Romaleo 3s because your shoes are probably going to be a little bit more stable. Even the Nike Romaleo 2s are more stable than the Nike Romaleo 3s due to the weight and the width of the shoe. The Adidas Adi Powers are very similar in weight and shape to the Nike Romaleo 3s, so you might not need to upgrade there as well. Those are just my recommendations. You don't have to take them. If you really like the Nike Romaleo 3s, go ahead and buy them. So all in all, for me as a CrossFitter, the Nike Romaleo 3s are the best weightlifting shoes at the moment. They're flexible, they're almost as light as a training shoe, and they're comfortable enough for me to wear during a metcon, and they're stable enough for me to do serious Olympic weightlifting sessions in. All you need to do is just change the insole, and that's the best feature of the Nike Romaleo 3s. The Nike Romaleo 3s retail for $200, which put them at the same price point as pretty much all of the good Olympic weightlifting shoes at the moment. So you really have to ask yourself, what are you going to be using these shoes for? If you're a power lifter, or if you're an Olympic weightlifter, or a just normal global gym guy, you might not see the benefits of the Nike Romaleo 3s as much as someone that's doing CrossFit. And in some cases, the Nike Romaleo 2s, the Legacy Lifters, the Adidas Leistungs might be better for you, so you really have to think about that. But for me, as a functional fitness athlete, CrossFitter, the Nike Romaleo 3s are the best. If you have any questions about the Nike Romaleo 3s, feel free to leave them in the comment section. As always guys, hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.